analysis and feedback from you on different stories from the national dailies. Start your day by gaining fresh perspectives, uncovering the story behind the story, and join the conversation. Because your voice matters. From the dailies, the conversation never stops.
All right, thank God it's Friday. The weekend is finally here again. Thank God for the breath of life. Thank God for counting you and I worthy to be among the living to see this day, Friday, the 22nd day in the month of November 2024. My name is Adidamola Lafenwa, and we're set to take you through the front pages of newspapers this morning on the program from the Daily Zone Solutions 93.9 FM. And I have Comrade Ayodeji Jishokbe live in the studio with me this beautiful Friday morning. A beautiful morning to you, Comrade Ayodeji.
Yeah, beautiful morning to you, my dear comrade, brother, and of course to the Muslim brothers and sisters. We say Baraka Juma, and of course to the boys and girls out there, we say thank God it's Friday.
It's Friday. Okay, let's kick the ball rolling now. There are quite a number of issues on the front pages of newspapers this morning, starting from human angle to politics to security and to international issues. And of course, we have quite a number of time to spend on the program dealing with these issues this morning. Looking at the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. Now, the biggest story on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper this Friday morning is talking about insecurity, terrorism, presidency mom, defense headquarters thrilled over arrest of Simon Ekpa, 4 others. And riders under data, government of Finland arrest Simon Ekpa for crimes related to terrorism. We have nothing to say yet. IPOP. Why we can't comment now? Presidency. Defense headquarters excited, hopes Ekpa will be extradited to Nigeria to face justice. The story is found on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And this is talking about Nigerians, you and I. 2/3 of households lack money for healthy food. NBS survey, that's the National Bureau of Statistics, giving out the survey that 2/3 of households lack money for healthy food. Okay, we'll talk about that in the course of the program too. Reps reject bill on 6-year single tenure for president governors. Page 4 has that story. National Assembly okays Tinubu's fresh request for $2.2 billion external loan. I mean, the swiftness of the approval, the swiftness of the approval of the Senate to that loan.
Yeah,
Okay.
it shows the seriousness with which they are delivering on the.
Did you say seriousness?
Yes, if the letter came in by Tuesday, And the Senate President Akpabio charged the committee for speedy consideration. And of course, he gave them Wednesday. They were even slack. They returned
Speedy concentration.
Yes.
Okay, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Okay, the rider under that particular story, Atiku slams Tinubu, says debt burden crushing economy. So much on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Tax reform. We will be on side of Nigerians National Assembly. 2025. Why we are proposing 3 trillion naira budget. Sanwo-Olu, page 19. Page 10 of the Vanguard has that story. And another one, I don't know why IMF is talking from both sides of the mouth now. Because earlier this week and towards the end of last week, IMF came out and said, at the point they said they were giving thumbs up to the reforms of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but they came out later and said that it is badly structured because Nigerians are not really buying into that. And now they are saying, we strongly support Tinubu's reform, says IMF MD. Page 19 of the Vanguard has that story. Away from the Vanguard newspaper, let's take a look at the Punch newspaper. Anti-Tinubu comments. ACF suspends chairman as Afenifere others back president. You know, we played a clip and we talked about the chairman of Arewa Consultative Forum speaking against President Tinubu's policies and saying that the North would not support him come 2027. They would rather support the northern candidates. But let me say, do we call it a disclaimer?
I think it is appropriate.
Okay, disclaimer. So ACF suspends the chairman that made that statement. Away from that, we'll talk about it in the course of the program too. ECPA's terror charges. FG presses for extradition as IPOB disowns Biafra agitator. PDP postpones NEC meeting as North Central insists on chair. Okay, FG governors decide on state police next week. Okay, let's move away from that too. Lagos 3 trillion naira 2025 budget prioritizes infrastructure tourism. Visiting US-based Nigerian bought 9 drugs before death. Police. And the last one, winners get 77 million naira in Zenith Bank tech affair. Away from the Punch newspaper, let's take a look at the Guardian newspaper. And of course, as expected, Guardian has this well-detailed report again. And this time, they're talking about the dwindling sports fortunes. Grassroots neglect, mediocrity strip Nigeria of youthful population edge. Okay, pages 4 and 5 have that story. Still looking at the Guardian newspaper now. Sanwo-Olu presents 3 trillion naira budget to Assembly. Senate reviews law okays life imprisonment for drug traffickers. And this is about PDP. Bode George is talking now. Address internal conflicts or face 2027 defeat. Bode George warns PDP. Page 7 has that story. Governors National Assembly agree on constitution review. Article SCCI, that's Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, faults Tinubu's 1.7 trillion naira fresh loan amid lawmakers' swift approval. I like the way the Guardian put it there, swift approval. I mean, that's a good one. EPA Oaneze, Defense Headquarters Lord pro-Biafra agitators arrest hopeful of region's peace. NNPC scouts financiers for 5,120 kilometer pipeline amid $2.9 billion refinery repairs. 71% of households adversely affected by food price hike, says NBS. And the last paper I'll be looking at is the Nigerian Tribune this morning. State Police, Kwara, Kebbi, Adamawa, FCT get 1 week to submit positions. Page 3 has that story. International Criminal Court issues arrest warrant for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. And we'll definitely talk about that too in the course of the program this morning. Sanwo-Olu proposes 3 trillion naira budget. And okay, there's many more. It's found on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. Now let's go straight to the stories now. I'd like to take it from a human angle story, the one that affects every one of us, you and I, talking about food. And NBS saying that, it's not a good survey, actually, but it's the fact. 2/3 of households lack money for healthy food. And let's take a listen at a particular voice of a market woman talking about the hike in prices of food commodities in the market.
Masses are dying. Like last year, let me give you an example of groundnut oil. A keg of groundnut oil last year is 25,000. There we are shouting. We sellers, we are shouting. But this year, as from last 2 weeks, I myself as a share lady, I go to the company, I bought a keg of groundnut oil, 32,500. But as I'm telling you now, I went to Ujuolo yesterday, I bought it 40,100 naira. I never put transport to. So you can see that everything is getting worse badly. It's not as it be last year that is here today. Anything that's go up can never come down because that is Nigeria for you. Are you with me? Whatever goes up can never come down. That is Nigeria for you. I be the one make everybody clear go before they go do something. It's too bad. Are they waiting for us to enter mutually finish before they will act? I don't know.
A big one there. The woman said, are they waiting for everybody to end up in the mortuary before something is done? Nigerians have been crying, talking about hiking food, prices of food, as in the essential food commodities now, not talking about the assorted now. And something seems not to be done so far, even from the government quarters. I don't want to believe that we are in a hopeless situation, judging by what this lady said.
Well, we're talking about food security here. And what are the things that guarantee food security? Availability, access. Yes, it is available. And then people are able to access it.
Okay.
Access could be in form of, the funding, the necessary funding, the financial capacity to access it. Availability includes, the availability of those foodstuffs in various grades. There is Gari Jebu, the one they do in Oyo, the one they do, various grades. That's availability. And access, availability of different grades, and access in various grades. Let us look at the way we do our farming, you understand? And what are the factors, that hinder or encourage farming in these parts, because we're going to be talking in these parts, not on a national scale. At least we narrow it down to this southwestern part. We do rain-fed agriculture mostly. I was, reflecting yesterday how the northern parts of Nigeria, how the tomatoes in the northern parts became the only one we produce there. You remember our own one here?
Yeah.
Those seeds are very visible. You throw it anywhere it grows. Then it was no longer competitive with the one that was coming from the northern parts. And I said to myself, look, the research institutes are here in Ibadan. That is why Ibadan is called the intellectual capital of Nigeria. That is the way it was designed. An IITA that produced those research outputs for the new seedlings. So the North, they took it here from the North, or the North got interested and approached them and got the seedlings. So we here, Southwest, we did not access what IITA had to offer. So they had the advantage of growth. And when they started growing it, big time, they do big time farming in the North. You see fresh tomato, pepper, and everything coming. Just go and stand in your job as early as 5 a.m. You just count those buses, because I was on that route for years. 4:35 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m. They're headed for Lagos. All of them headed for Lagos. All through the night, all through the morning. They're headed for Lagos. They don't stop in Ibadan. They're headed for Lagos. From the northwest. From the northwest. They're doing big time farming. So, and then the issue of insecurity. Look, in the southwest, I've been repeatedly told by researchers and practitioners that we are fed by what they call subsistent farmers, not big time farmers, not commercial farmers. Those who do farming as agriculture, mostly, not as agribusiness.
Okay.
Yes. So you go to them, small stakeholder farmer. Go to them. What's your input? How much the seeding cost? How much the cultivation cost? How much?
Are people not venturing into agribusiness? I mean, doing the large scale farming that we used to have in the past.
Which past? Which past? I mean, apart from Obasanjo.
There was a time in this country that we had plantations.
Where?
In the southwest, yeah.
Owned
We had cocoa plantations.
Owned
We
by
had all palm plantations.
Owned by
even in Edo State.
government. Owned by government.
Okay.
Not individuals, not companies. Except for, yes, I think Total had a farm. They sold it. USC had farms. I think USC sold a farm too.
Okay.
Yes, individuals bought them. What are they doing there now? Individuals bought those farms. Because I mean, I knew the USC thing. I knew the Total thing. They bought them in Okyogun part. Or at least mid-Okyogun. The individuals bought them. What are they doing there now?
All right. In the face of this hike now, what should
And
the
then
government
our
do?
post-harvest. They say, the researchers have told us repeatedly that our post-harvest loss is about 35 to 40%. Now, when you invest and you lose 40, 35, even 30% of post-harvest, so what is your profit? So, availability, access, what are we doing? Rain-fed agriculture. One professor of agronomy was telling me about 3 months ago. He told me, he said, I said it was drizzling. He said that was not raining. He said it stopped raining for 6 weeks. So everything they have planted, the second wave of grains, you understand, that was supposed to, he said 6 weeks. He said everything got burnt in cold while it was standing. Then, the rains now came back and all of that. That was they started planting the second wave, which ought to have been 90 days. The grains are ready. I mean, the corn. We should do 4 times in a year. We just managed to do 2. And the ones you see later is what the ones that are by the riverbed, you understand? So, and the import of grains in our eating and then our, what do you call them? Our poultry, our livestock, yes, livestock, feeding our livestock. Either the poultry, either the other ones too. Grains, critical. So the price of grains is never stable. It has always been like that. Always been like that. I recall that my assistant wife used to be in this one end of the poultry. The price was costly pricing at a particular period.
In all this, what should be the role of the government?
Enabling environment.
How?
The Southwest governments are not doing enough. Check out the northern governments, state governments. They're the ones enabling. Kaduna, for instance, enabling for the farmers, putting them together, you understand? Standing as guarantors for them, you understand? Accessing, credit, and, networking for them. How many Southwest farmers got, what do you call that one? That Ancoporas fund for rice. How many Southwest farmers? How many? And it ran into hundreds and hundreds of billions of naira. How many Southwest farmers got it? How many? We asked them. We kept asking them. And it is difficult to ask. But the northern state government, they had a way of, putting things together on behalf of the, enabling. Yes, the cost of, one lady was telling me here, she did rice farming. She told me that in the whole of the Southwest, and of course I know the state, only one particular state had only 1 tractor. For God's sake. You understand? Government wants to buy tractors for them. Of course, we know when government is buying tractors. You understand? Government should know try and buy tractors. Government should, guarantee them through the banks and all of that.
Because it is actually pathetic when we are blessed with arable farmlands and the citizens are still crying of hunger and not even having enough to buy these foods.
You see, availability determines access, various levels. It has always been like that.
We have country. What baffles me in this country is the fact that we have countries situated in deserts. And
Israel, for instance.
Israel, for example, and the citizens there don't cry, in quote, because of food.
I think
Desert. If desert countries can put things in place, what is wrong with Nigeria, where we are blessed with vast arable farmlands, and Nigerians are still saying
I was
that.
listening to news yesterday, and I heard that Oyo State government is a farm settlement. You know, this farm settlement we're talking about was a vision of Obafemi Awolowo. I mean, we just are talking about vision of this 50s.
50s, yeah.
Early 50s, you understand? And we're still even unable to manage them, you know. But be that as it may, Oyo is there. I've forgotten the name they call the one in Oyo. It is agribusiness now. Government is providing the enabling environment. But you see, this thing takes time. I salute the state government to the extent that politicians don't want to do something that is not visible almost immediately so that they can take credit. Yes, I think this governor has tried to do that. Agribusiness, it has taken time, yes, because I remember speaking with Dr. Debo Akode, the man in charge of agribusiness. It has taken time. It has taken time because it will take time to persuade investors where there is no power. No power, critical. No power. You want to, but like Friesland, the people that do pick me, they have been in Nigeria for 75 years. No single ounce of milk has been produced there. They bring everything and just put together and call it different names. You understand? 75 years. Imagine if, but they are now doing experimental stuff. You know, they're going to be doing. Of course, they've gotten the ones they bring from Argentina that will produce. Okay, you walk a car from Kano to Lagos, or you put them in the truck, standing, parked like that. What kind of milk would they produce? What kind of milk would they produce? So the yield, that's why those people will never do anything like that here. The yield, our own locals will produce 1 pint, and then the others they bring in will produce 7. So, you know.
Because availability of food is very critical in any economy.
Damola, in this Ibadan, amongst many other locations, I remember the location of Olubado Stadium. As soon as you turn from that police station and you're turning towards the High Court, there used to be one green, that's MAN and R, Minister of Agriculture and Natural Resources, fresh milk every day in this Ibadan. They have been turned into housing estates.
That's another problem. That is another problem.
Converting
Converting arable, farmlands.
They have been turned into housing estates.
And we are now saying that there's shortage, scarcity of food, and the little ones available are so high. The prices are so high. Okay, let's move away from that because of
enabling environment.
Written enabling environment.
Yes. Provided they say farmers should come and register the secretariat. Farmers should come and register. Farmer that does not even know.
And most of these credit facilities, they end up in the farmers on book, in the pockets of the farmers on book.
Farmers with portfolios.
Farmers with portfolios.
Yeah.
Okay, and let's move away from that. Let's talk about security issues now. There's this debate that has been going on concerning state police. Some states are for it and some are against it. But let me ask you, how effective will state policing be, or will it be a boost to security details that we already have on ground?
One security expert, Dr. Donald, that we brought here, he even said, what are we talking about? We don't even need state police.
So what do we now need?
He said we have all the structures in place. It is simply we have not formalized it. He said, where is it that you don't have neighborhood associations formalized? You meet every month. You have ESCO. You interface with police. You know, police something relations, Abi. You interface with them. He said, is that not a structure? You have guards. You register those guards, the kind of weapons they have. You know, if they have the double barrel or dim guns and everything, you interface with police. So he said, formalize those structures, streamline them, go to the status and back them up with laws. You understand? See, we don't need. The man said here in this studio, he said, we don't need state police. What we need is local policing.
Now let's link it with this security issues affecting the Northwest now. Talking about the new Ilukarawa. There was a long debate at the floor of the Senate yesterday when senators stood up and spoke about the high level of insecurity and how Ilukarawa, the new terrorist group, is encroaching more territories. Let's take a listen at what Ali Ndume said on the floor of the House yesterday.
Just continuing from where distinguished Senator Kakeshew stopped. In Chad, that is one of the black spots. We have joint task force already, but they are not equipped. They are not well trained. They are not motivated. In fact, the joint task force is headed by a Nigerian from Yobe State, General Yusuf. Now, what happened was actually all this while they know the line. They have like a border with the Chad Republic, and they never go there. When they went there and killed their people, the president led the operations, and that was what led to their success. And they moved over, and the first target is to dislodge our military around that Kereto and cut it away. In terms of replacing what the Chadian president led and recovered from them. What we need to do is still the same, sir. The Chadian government led the operation by their president. We are not saying that we should do that, but there should be a special operation, because this problem is cancerous and is expanding. We are talking about them in Sokoto, Kebbi now. We are talking about them in Niger. They are going to Plateau. They are drawing the second cycle. The main purpose of government is security and welfare of its citizens. It's there in our constitution. We cannot change it. So everything should be focused on security. Because if we say it's Borno today, and we need to discuss it slightly, saying that we should talk about it in 2 minutes, it will one day get to Kano. God forbid. But it tried to get to Kano. The Kano people stood up. That was how Kano is still standing. If not, the late Ado Bayero was nearly killed. So, Mr. President, this is an occasion where the Senate must be responsible. We should stand up to the occasion and demand. The late president, the Senate president before, Senator Amelan, during his tenure, three times, we set up a committee. And at one time, we invited everybody. We pushed, and you were the chairman appropriation then, and we pushed the government to approve 809 billion to procure the Tucano. But it was wrongly used. You went and procured Tucano while we needed attack helicopters. If we have attack helicopters around that area now, this Boko Haram will not even go there, because the Chadians went there with only 2 attack helicopters. Right now, the joint task force you are talking about have only 1 helicopter. So the Senate should, the mover of the motion should amend this motion, and let's be blunt about it. Let's ask the government to do the right thing. And I'm sure that if we tell the president what to do, he will do it. He will do it. So let us stand up as Senate. We are just approving a borrowing about 2.2 billion.
Senator Lindume there, aggressively, obviously aggressive, being aggressive and talking about his opinion concerning the high rate of insecurity in the Northwest. What do you make out of that? He spoke about underfunding and not having enough equipment by the military to tackle this insurgency.
Of all that Ali Dube said, the only thing that I caught on to in the narration is it might get to Kano, God forbid. They tried it in Kano. Kano resisted. Day before yesterday, or was it yesterday? I was saying it. I kept asking myself when Boko Haram started and continued to fester, why was Boko Haram localized to the Kanuri axis? And it was festering. Insecurity does not fester in any locality unless it has the support of the locals. He said that was almost killed and that Kano resisted it. What does it mean When he said Kano resisted,
That the people in Kano resisted.
who are the people in Kano?
The people living there.
They thought they had a stake, that their location must not be compromised. And they came together as stakeholders. They thought they had a sense of stakeholding. We were just talking about state police, and somebody said, we don't need state police, we need local policing. You see, this thing, like people say, this thing is not rocket science.
And now, looking at this Lukarawa, the new group now,
The people that went to
living with them, the group has been living with the people there for years now.
So now the people, you know,
Now
that
they are going out of hand,
They are
and
going out
people
of
are now
hand.
crying.
I mean, look, people came in. They are new to the environment. Intelligence, every local government has DSS office, not just DSS office. They do will clear report, they do all of that. They didn't have, they were not supplying intelligence. They did not do their work. They didn't supply intelligence. What was, and then that intelligence, a new group has come, some people are coming up, they do reports. Now, when they were reporting, and then they kept on reporting that these people are coming up, these people are coming, this is what they are doing, this is what they are engaging in. It is looking religious. So, and you know, anything that is looking religious in certain areas will certainly have some other implications. And then when they started, were the military intelligence, DSS too, DSS, other intelligence, police.
But let's talk about the Southeast. We have IPOB there too. Do we now see that the people in the Southeast embraced them before they got out of hand?
You know now that people, a good number of the Southeasterners still have in their blood this Biafra thing. Even those who are not born during the Biafra war, they heard about the exploits of Biafra and the possibilities of Biafra.
And they believed in it.
You believe in it. They told them stories of war, how people...
Like this man that was just arrested yesterday, Simon Ekpa. I heard he was born in 1985.
Oh, so he was told stories.
Years after Biafra. He wasn't...
Stories.
And look at the role he has played
Yeah.
in this agitation of this
Because
Biafra
look
nation.
at you, look at Israelis. They see the war that the Holocaust, and then the 1945 Second Civil War ended, and the children that are born now. Look at when that thing started. The American Jews all over the world, they left their job and came to defend the state of Israel. 17, 20, 18, 19 year old. The Second World War ended in 1945. Stories that they were told. If you read the Holocaust, the opening statement in the Holocaust is that we forgive, but we must not forget. We must never forget.
We must never forget, yeah.
So you keep the flame, so even if it is smoldering. So it is there. So are they not there? It is only that now they are inflicting pain on the locals, yet they cannot disown them.
Okay, before we move to international, because I want us to talk about the Benjamin Netanyahu being a warrant of arrest being issued by International Criminal Court. Before we talk about that, let's talk about this local issue now. Talking about politics now, Bode George, address internal conflicts or face 2027 defeat. Bode George, advising the stakeholders in the PDP to brace up and settle the internal crisis. Let's take a listen at what he had to say.
Ask those are the aim of affairs of our party today. What exactly is the offense of Governor Fubara of Rivers State? Let me ask again. What exactly is the offense of this gentleman that some elders of our party are trying to throw him under the bus because of political expediency? What exactly is going on that some party members don't feel bothered about the happenings in Rivers State? Governor Fubara was helped by Governor Wike to become the #1 citizen of the oil-bearing state. The governor himself acknowledged this on several occasions. Must the governor now behave like a slave to his predecessor and other characters because of this concept of godfatherism, which is a misnomer in our own politics? Why are some party members encouraging his predecessor to bring him down? He is in Abuja. He wants to control what goes on in Rivers State. If he does not have his way, he is ready to adopt the biblical Samson Swidal option. Did governors before him behave this way? Why are the party leaders not eager to mediate and bring both groups to normalcy? We cannot continue like this. Why can't we learn from our past mistakes? Is our party jinxed? Why can't we tell all these troublemakers to go and sit down if they don't want this party to move forward? The other day, Wike boasted openly and threatened governors by saying, I will put fire in your state. I will put fire in your state. If the APC-led government that he is working for refused to sanction him for acts capable of causing insurrection in Nigeria, why can't the PDP penalize him? Papa Alex Ekweme and others started this party as G14 and G34. They laid a solid foundation for the PDP. He contested and lost against former President Olusegun Obasanjo twice. Despite that, he did not threaten anybody. He did not work for the opposition. Instead, Papa ensured that this party remained strong till he died. And some of us promised him that we will not allow anything or anybody to destroy this party. Divided house can never win. You cannot sleep soundly when you have snakes in your bedroom. This is exactly the situation in PDP today.
But the judge there, I like the last statement, a divided house cannot stand. And obviously PDP as we speak is really divided.
You see, just yesterday, I was ruminating over the attitude, and I think we spoke about it on Wednesday, about the attitude of Nigerians, not just the leadership this time around. Then why do we behave? Why do we conduct ourselves the way we do, our attitude? And further to that, this morning I was asking, stakeholding. And then I stumbled on a paper that Nigerian leadership, they do not have any any sense of stakeholding in the Nigerian project. If they did, they will not be running the affairs of state like this. You see, Nigerians too, they say government property. The ordinary, regular Nigerians, they say government property. I get worried. What is government property? This is public property, and public property belongs to all. So, government property, government. What your property, government? What's the meaning of that? We don't have any sense of stakeholding. People open their mouths and say things. That's followership. At the party level, we have said it here that, look, these are not even political parties. If they are political parties by any means, there will be a convergence of interests. There will be a convergence. Is it looking like there's a convergence of interests?
He made mention of Pa Alex Ekweme being defeated twice and still worked for the prospect of the party.
Even beyond that, the contributions of Alex Ekweme was never recognized. But you see, Alex Ekweme is a refined gentleman. Refined gentleman. Even Bode George, I've been asking myself, there's something about the naval arm of the armed forces, their level of refinement.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
Air Force people have this swagger, you understand? But the level of refinement that the Navy people exhibit, especially the officer cadre, not rubbishing the other men too. Alex Ekweme was not given his due recognition. Alex Ekweme was jailed by the military for doing what? Shehu Shagari, that was president commander-in-chief, was kept in a guest house, and Alex Ekweme was kept in prison. You understand? By this same Buhari, they kept that one Shagari in a guest house, and they locked the vice president up in a prison. A vice president that had virtually no power, except the one ceded to him. He was not even the chairman of the Council of National Economic Council then, because there was no such provision. You understand? So, dignified. What is it that was named after a federal polytechnic? An architect. He had a degree in economics, he had a degree in architecture. Those were the days you do 7 straight years for architecture. He had a PhD in economics, and, refined gentleman. I think, I want to believe that we are headed in a direction. You see, I guess we're going to be talking about the issue of the Northern Elders people. That's suspended.
yeah.
So don't let me jump the gun.
Okay.
So, in our attitude, the different sections of this country, our attitude, people are talking about as if we are not coming from somewhere. We are a nation of nationalities. We're coming from somewhere. Any nation or people that cannot reflect, you understand, introspection. I think there is a lack of introspection. Those who purport to lead us, they showed little sense of responsibility. All that you see in PDP, narrowing it down to the PDP,
Yes.
all that you see in PDP is individuals'
Interests.
interests. And when there's a convergence of interest among some individuals, they gather themselves together and
From a caucus.
grab the party. Naturally, there will be caucuses and grab the party. Of course, they are using the party as their special purpose vehicle. So, it is no party interest. No party interest now. When last did you say in the interest of our party? You can't hear it.
But there are still some people still trying to uphold the party's interest, like Bode George clearly stated here.
How many of Bode George, the likes of Bode George,
In the PDP.
in any party? Voice of reason.
Okay.
Let's see who will respond to you.
Okay, you will definitely get a response.
And
We'll get the
the
response.
kind of response he will
You will
get.
get a response. Let's wait and see. Okay, anti-Tinubu comments. ACF suspends chairman as Afenifere orders back president. We read it yesterday that the chairman of ACF, Arewa Consultative Forum, speaking against the policies of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, saying that it has brought people to hardship, and especially the northerners are being marginalized, and henceforth, come 2027, they would rather support all northerners vying for any post instead of supporting Bola Ahmed Tinubu like they did for him in 2023.
I think that was the only part of the statement issued that they opposed us and suspended him. for.
I think that was part of it. They didn't deny the other part
Okay.
that's brought hardship and everything,
Okay, he has brought hardship, which is Tinubu that brought hardship to the north.
according to him.
Okay, Almajiri. Look, Tuko, I've forgotten the man, Dalhatu Bashir Tuko, the chairman of the board of trustees of ACF. ACF was formed in year 2000. It was the Sultan of Sokoto that brought it about. Sultan of Sokoto that called all of them. So it used to be Kaduna Mafia. So formally. So now, that man, when they started it, I read his speech. I still have a copy of his speech. Berated the northern leadership that they have been irresponsible, they have not and pinpointed the issue of education. Their manjaris that the governors should take responsibility. What have you done?
Nothing.
Okay. They're not again. Kano State government offered 2 of their manjaris arrested. They gave 2 of them appointment. Appointment for what? Is the appointment that they need for education and hands-on skill? You see, the Kano State government bought phone for all of them. Have you forgotten?
You mean the little boys that were taking the
Yes,
they
bought solid phones.
Android phones for them.
So probably some of them are
And the sum of 100,000 naira each.
They will not buy 100,000 naira phones. So at least that phone would have been awarded as a contract.
Definitely.
Somebody will have cashed out
On that.
They will not buy 100,000 phones for them.
But that's the question. What will they need the phones for? Should phone be... You just brought up another issue now. Should phone be the next thing to give to those kids? I mean, we're talking about the kids
They are not thinking about
arrested
the kids.
for being
Some
part
people are just saying, hey, this is a scenario. How do we cash out on it? Let's cash in and cash out. It's not about it's not about the boys. A situation has presented. So the government will have said, hey, your special advisor on clinical, take charge of the situation. Let's make that. Oga, you just write paper. Go and give it to Oga. Approved.
And the governors don't even read through these things and
approved. Even Obasanjo. I remember Obasanjo, if he said he will not approve anything, when the man is about a few hours, maybe 2 hours to his flight and he's in Sango, they will just pile all those things together. They will put very nice ones on top. After he has seen 10 nice ones, he will just continue to sign the rest.
Okay, still from the Daily Zone Solutions 93.9 FM. I saw a particular story. I even heard it last night, talking about the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu.
And they made it past Defense Minister.
Okay, now the International Criminal Court has issued arrest warrant. What is his crime? Well, what are his offenses?
They said crimes against humanity.
How?
They said blockade. You see, that Minister of Defense, when that trouble started, they said they were going to lay those were his exact words. He said they were going to lay siege on Gaza. And he broke it down. That they were going to deny them food, they were going to deny them medicine, they were going to deny them water until the US intervened. But honestly, I think it's South Africa that took that matter to ICC. It's a very serious problem. But the sad part is that, the interesting part, don't let me call it the sad part. You know there are about 120 signatories. The US is not a signatory. The United States has condemned it. In fact, there is a backlash in Israel. You know, when it comes to that, you know, they have been very, very angry. But England, France, and some of the other countries have supported the ICC. Okay, the question is that Hamas that started it, how many people did they issue warrant of arrest for? Even the one they issued.
Is it not looking one-sided? That's my question now.
It's the one they issue warrant of arrest.
If ICC is issuing a warrant of arrest for Israeli Prime Minister alone, what about the other side?
They issue warrant of arrest for 1 or 2 of them. And Israel is giving those people they issue warrant of arrest for are even dead. You know, it's very significant. Very, very significant.
All right, comrade, as we wrap up the program, there was a particular story we talked about in the course of the week, this week, and talking about the executive.
Let me make some clarification. Okay. In the ICC, the issue, there is also this distinction, that you must make distinction between civilian populations and fighting forces. But the problem is that when Hamas built tunnels underground, and the tunnels comes out inside a school or comes out inside a hospital, so how do you make distinctions?
Well planned out.
They know the rules of engagement, so they will plant the allocation of engagement
to place their own suspect
in residential areas, in hospitals, in schools,
in churches sometimes.
Yes. So,
all right, we're talking about the executive buying houses, buying cars for the judiciary. We spoke about it this weekend. Nyesom Wike at some point, some weeks ago, commissioned housing project for judges, and he had this to say to defend the reason
Okay,
for
why
that.
is it so?
We have been talking about independence of the judiciary. How do you guarantee the independence of the judiciary? Part of what he did, one, he came on board and said, look, there should be this. In terms of uniformity of retirement of age, before it used to be Supreme Court and Court of Appeal 70 years. Now he has made it to without every judge from the State High Court, Federal High Court, Court of Appeal, Supreme Court, retired at the age of 70. You move further, it's okay. Salaries, emoluments of judges and justices. No president had had that boosted. For how many years in this country, judges and justices' salaries and emoluments have not been increased? What do they earn? At the end of the day, you go home and say, look, if you really want to talk about independence of judiciary, you must make it such a way that they cannot be influenced or politically manipulated. Their salary should be increased. Even as they retire, they collect them as the same way. In that case, you are trying to remove them from political manipulation. He did that. The next is welfare. Where are the judges living? They have no home. Therefore, it's open for political manipulation. And for me, as a president who wants to guarantee the independence of the judiciary, judges must have their homes. I'm not Mr. President. I'm only lucky to be appointed as a minister under his administration, and who is in a position to implement his policies. And Mr. President said, look, this is what he wants. Come up and see what we can do. It was approved by Mr. President, sent to the National Assembly in 2024 budget that there should be construction of judges and justices' quarters. That they must remove judges from where they are renting houses. They don't even know where they are living. Where they are living among criminals. We're renting houses where the landlord will say, look, you have not paid. Leave. It's embarrassing. A policy anybody should commend Mr. President. It is in the National Assembly budget of 2024, appropriated by the National Assembly.
Nyesom Wike, the FCT minister, giving backing up the reason for building houses for the judges in Abuja. I mean, what do you make out of that excuses he gave?
What's the business of the executive branch? Building houses for judges. Judges, the judiciary does not know what they need.
Okay.
Does the executive build houses? Have they been building houses for the National
You know,
Assembly?
interestingly, he got a response from Femi Falana. Let's take a listen now. Femi Falana. Let's listen to Femi Falana.
Now, look at the contradictions. You know, it's like the governor of Kaduna State, or Zamfara State, or Cross Rivers, or Lagos, coming to give judges, federal judges, houses in Abuja. No. The minister of the Federal Capital Territory operates like a state governor by virtue of Section 299 of the Constitution. So he cannot say, I'm going to build 40 houses. 10 shall go to the Federal High Court, 10 shall go to judges in the FCTI Court, and 10 shall go to the Court of Appeal and Supreme. No! No! Because you are a minister of the federal government, like a state governor. So your budget is limited to all the affairs of the FCT, Federal Capital Territory. So you cannot, as the head of the FCT, be dishing out gifts, cars, and houses to judges in the Federal High Court, in the Court of Appeal, and the Supreme Court. That's number one. Number two, you have cases before these courts on the theory of equality before the law. You cannot be seen to be giving cars or houses to judges who are going to determine your cases. And that is why the autonomy of the judiciary has now been constitutionalized. I do recall that last year, in 2024, what was initially budgeted for the judiciary was 160 billion. But when the National Assembly was convinced that you will need houses for judges, you will need cars for judges, and so on and so forth, the budget was increased to 345 billion naira. Almost double. So,
now you listen to that. That's Femi Falana there, responding to what.
It's as straightforward as that. When Wike has lost his moral compass, I'm not sure he ever had an effective and functional one. I mean, he was just doing warped logic. Look at the way Femi Falana spelled it out. He's just doing very warped logic that cannot stand even on its feet, not to talk of the head on which is placing it.
But Wike is a lawyer too.
Wike
should know better.
Wike
should know better.
Wike has. That's when I say Wike has lost his compass, either legally or morally. You look,
and that was why former President Olusegun Obasanjo also said at Yale University that the judges are being induced in form of building houses and doing giving them gifts
as
by the
Wike
executive.
was saying all that he was saying. I remember that the military president Babangida even issued limousines, Mercedes limousines, to Supreme Court justices. And I will ask myself, why are those Mercedes limousines? Limousines, I mean, not Mercedes cars. You know, they have their budget. Look at what he said. When the National Assembly, in its wisdom as an appropriation arm of government, they will need this, they will need that. What the National Assembly did was to, extricate the judiciary from dependence. They saw they would need this so that they would not go cap in hand, begging the executive. Just another arm. The money does not belong to the executive. You understand? And we get standing logic on its head and talking about and they are living among, they could be living among criminals and all of that.
Some judges
What
might
nonsense is that?
not be able to pay their house rent
Come
and
on.
stuff like that.
And they didn't increase their salary. Well, it should be subject to a regular review. These things is not about let us increase their salary. It's even silly to be saying let us that this 2009 agreement of ASU. It is inbuilt that inflation goes at this rate per annum based on what we have seen in so years, or even if it is going up, whatever. Let us do an increment every 3 or 5 years or so percentage, so that we won't be negotiating and sitting and wasting time. Let us build it in. So all this one that Wike is talking, Wike has lost his we wait. We are going to see where all of this will end up. It's a matter of time.
It's a matter of time. Well, our time is fast spent on the program this morning. Comrade Ayodeji Shokwe, thank you very much for being a part of the program.
My
today.
pleasure always. Thank you so
Let
much.
me ask you, what are your plans for the weekend?
Well, of course, I'm a member of a group that we're holding a 3-day conference. Started yesterday, to be on today, tomorrow. Of course, that's where I will be for the rest of the weekend. And of course, Sunday is usually the longest day of the week. In spite it is rejoicing me.
I understand. All right, that's the wrap for today. We'll be back again Monday morning for a fresh edition of From the Daily Zone Solutions 93.9 FM. My name is Adidamola Lafewa, urging every one of us to have a very wonderful weekend. Good morning once again.